Hey guys, Galaxy Studios here. Time to tell you the story of how I got a world record. This is a Flash game called Xenos. It's something I loved playing when I was a kid, recently rediscovered, and then I did what you're about to see. What you're seeing right now is the attempt prior because I just gave up because I was doing really bad on Mission 2. So, I decided to wipe the data and start a new run. Now, I did auto-split this after the fact because, for lag reasons, the only way I could record this was with my laptop's built-in recording software and not OBS. So, let's just get this over with. Go. I didn't notice a goat. Alright, so, the story of this game is basically, you play as the pilot of this robot named Asteris, and you have to try to save the world from an evil scientist who has taken over the world with an army of robots powered by this new energy called Xenos, hence the name of the game. The objective for each level is to destroy the generators of this energy, and along the way, you fight these guard robots. The barriers go down when you beat all the guard robots that are designated to an area. And there are a total of 6 types of regular enemies. Now, I'm going to talk about the UI for a bit as we go through Mission 2. The top left corner is your health bar. The blue line is the most important thing to focus on. The top right corner is the HUD. It shows where all the generators are in a level in case you get lost. Right next to it is the score. That's irrelevant. Now the top of the middle of the screen is the interesting part. It's your current power level, which is different from your health bar. As it fills up, the weapon you're currently using gets stronger and stronger, with the colors with the colors going from blue to yellow, blue to green to yellow, and eventually red. Although we won't see that right now. Finally, the bottom middle is what weapon you're currently using. I currently have 2 weapons. The X-Saber, which is almost completely useless, and the S-Hurricane, which is the weapon I'm going to be using for the first quarter of the game. The S-Hurricane is basically Darth Maul's lightsaber. Each weapon has a special ability that you can use by pressing space, and in general you attack by just ramming into enemies using the arrow keys. The only controls for this game are your keyboard. It's arrow keys to move, and I think WASD, space to use a special move, and number keys to change the weapon. Space is also how you select a level. My missions 1 and 2 weren't that good by my standards, but I decided to keep going because they weren't horrible. And mission 3 has been going really well. For the first time basically ever. I kind of fumble a little bit at the end. I try to get these generators in 3 hits each, which, alright, I should explain what boosting the weapon's power does. It increases the weapon's size, which isn't really as important, but it boosts the damage by, I think, 50% of its original strength per level. So a green weapon is 1.5 times as strong as a corresponding blue weapon, then twice for yellow, and 2.5 times for red, which I believe we're going to see in this level. Now the big difference maker when it comes to the red S-Hurricane is that when using the special move, it can kill the green enemies in 1 hit. The blue enemies are the basic ones, and the green ones throw boomerangs. I don't really give nicknames to any of them, and only one of them has an official name in the game. No, 2 of them have official names in the game. I just call them the blue ones and the green ones, honestly. The ending of Mission 4, it didn't go super well. I'm usually able to hit that final generator through the wall like I did to the second generator, but I'm still well on pace. Now, that hidden item not yet found at the bottom of the screen, there's collectibles. There's 10 of them, and they're in 2 sets, each of 5. When you get 5 in a set, it unlocks an upgrade. The blue chips, the first one of which is found in this level, gives you a boost to your defense, boosting your health by 33%. And the red ones unlock access to a weapon. However, you have to go so far out of your way to get them that it's not worth it time-wise. It's going to make the endgame a lot harder than it would be normally. I just took out the first instance of the 4th one, the sword guys. The 4th enemy, the sword guys. And again, I'm using the S-Hurricane to shoot through the wall. Now we get introduced to the minefield levels. There's 4 of them throughout the game, marked by this symbol on that display, and these mines hit hard. They hit harder than any enemy in the game. They each take out a third of your health without the blue health upgrade. Alright, the blue things that I'm collecting are, I think they're instances of raw Xenos energy, which we're also powered by, in addition to all the enemies. Use it to, you pick that stuff up to increase your, power, but also restore your health. Mission 7 is an interesting one. There's a chip in here that you need to beat all the enemies to get, but since this is a speed run, we just don't do that. And the gimmick for this level is that all 4 generators are just sitting right out in the open, ready for us to take them down. And that's Mission 7. And from there, we get to the first of 4 bosses. 3 of which are against the same character, Dr. Crenson, the main villain of the game. The way the bosses work is 2 phases. In Phase 1, the boss just shoots at you, and you gotta damage him down to 40% health, or I think it's 35%. Whatever, it's a bit below 4 bars, and then this happens, he calls for assistance and has a different attack pattern related to area denial. And that's the first battle with Dr. Crenson, by far the easiest boss in the game. I should mention that when I was a kid, it was level 6 that seriously gatekept me. It took me a while to get past the first minefield. But after that, I didn't really have them any problems for a while. There's a bit of a cutscene after in the menu where you get access to this weapon, but I skipped it by just pressing spacebar as quickly as possible to start the level. The window's not actually that bad from what I've seen, but it's pretty costly if you mess it up. You'll lose, like, I think 10 seconds. And now, the E-Crusher. It's an axe. Its special move is an energy wave that does a lot of damage and hits a lot of enemies. I will not be using any other weapon for the rest of the game. Yeah. The important benchmark to hit for this weapon is the yellow version because it lets you one-shot the red enemies with the energy wave. It's also worthy to note that, on its own, the E-Crusher has much higher damage than the S-Hurricane we were previously using. When it's blue, it can 4-shot the generator, something you needed green in order to do with the S-Hurricane. When it's green, it can 3-shot the generators, something you needed yellow to do with the S-Hurricane. And when it's yellow, well, hopefully we get to see it in this level, which I'm playing rather well. This is where we get introduced to the 5th type of enemy and one of the only 2 with a name, the Turtleoid. And yeah, when it's yellow, it can 2-shot the generators, something that the S-Hurricane literally cannot do. In fact, there's only one weapon in the game apart from the E-Crusher that can do it, and it needs max power. But yeah, the enemy, it was the first enemy I fought in level 10. It's called the Turtleoid. It's really tanky. It's a lot harder when you're facing multiple of them at once, but we'll get to that much later in the game. A strategy I developed for this level was to just go around and kill the enemies as I'm taking out the generators. It just saves a bit of time in the long run. I should mention that when compared to the previous world record, which I will have linked in the description of this video, I had a much better Crenson 1 split, but the previous world record holder played really well from here on out, about equal with me. I think I was a little better for the rest of the game, but I mean, the third quarter of this split is not actually that good, but yeah, you'll see why. Alright, the Cleanser. The second gimmick level. The second gimmick level type. It's a laser that sweeps left to right, and if it hits you, you're dead. It also happens to destroy every enemy it touches, so that's something, but it's basically a speedrun level, similar to Minefield, but for the most part, not as difficult. Mission 13. you'll notice on the splits that we're coming up on Crimson 2. Interesting thing to note is something I used a lot. Taking out one Xenos core always gets you enough energy to activate the special ability. I should have mentioned this a lot earlier, but you need a certain amount of energy to activate the special attack. Barriers are down. And I use the energy wave to take out a lot of the enemies in this room. And then I just rush upwards since this is the case with a lot of levels in this game, you don't actually need to take out the final enemies. In fact, the same thing is true for this level. This is the last level before the second boss. And yeah, basically this is the strategy for a lot of the rest of the levels. Just spam the energy wave and kill everything. We're almost at Crimson 2, and I'll have some more stuff to explain. And now we literally just ignore these enemies and head straight for the generator. And Crimson 2. This time using a different machine. Interestingly, it spits out Xenos energy after every 2 hits, which allows me to get to yellow E-Crusher pretty quickly. Calls for assistance, and then I just spam energy wave. And that's Crimson 2. We're halfway through the game, and a third of the way through the speedrun. I unlock another weapon, but I'm gonna spam spacebar fast enough to skip the cutscene of Lumi explaining it. Lumi's our navigator. And now we enter Crimson 3 split. Because we're fighting Crimson again as the next boss. Who would have guessed? I generally like the boss fights in this game. Oh, this level. If the previous world record holder is watching this video, which they might, this is a neat optimization I found. Just heading directly for the generators, and then just taking this wave out all at once, and then of course we just go all the way down. It's an excellent optimization for mission 16, which is important because of what's about to happen. I'm just gonna let this play out. Yeah, I was not at my best. And by the way, my mouse is going to be there for the rest of the speedrun, so enjoy. I decide to keep this run going because it's on an amazing pace. And overall, I still finished this level in 45 seconds. Which isn't fast at all for this level, but I'd say I lost like 20 seconds at most. Probably 15, I guess. Yeah. I've titled this level Blitz because the thing to do here is just go in full speed and just kill everything. That's true for a lot of levels, but especially this one. And oh yeah, I forgot this is where I made another mistake. I didn't realize for a while that I hadn't taken out these 2 generators. You need at least 1 hit from a yellow energy wave in order to do that. The enemies are also placed quite awkwardly here. I need to go down and then back up. So yeah, I finish off the last of the enemies, take this out, and yeah, I didn't realize for a couple seconds that I hadn't gotten these. So overall, Crimson 3 split is not going well, but I'm about to make up some serious ground in level 19. What I have affectionately called B-Hell. Yeah, but yeah, I haven't mentioned these enemies yet, but they're officially called B units. In terms of health, they can be taken out by a blue energy wave, but they move around erratically and they fire attacks in a like machine gun pattern, I guess. Fire 3 at once, kind of like was it the purple tank from Wii Tanks, or was it the red one? I don't know. Who cares? I shouldn't say that. But yeah, there's a lot of them in this level, and their capacity for burst damage has caused me to lose several runs to this. Especially on the final room, which you're gonna see. You'll see why. Yeah, the last two generators are trap you in a room with these guys. And I preempt an energy wave before coming in because of this. Now the second cleanser level. Now, you do have to fight some enemies. There's beating them gets you through a barrier. There is a strategy where you use the X-Saber and use its special attack, which is a dash, to bonk against the cleanser and shoot you forward at insane speeds. But I wasn't confident in my ability to pull it off, and it loses like 1 second at most because the energy wave just does that. I didn't know about this until I saw the previous world record. We're getting close to the third boss. This one is another Ascension map similar to level 14. You start at the bottom, go to the top, and fight waves of enemies along the way. Unlike level 14, though, you actually do have to beat the final wave. Which is unfortunate because the final wave is kind of annoying. Fortunately, I am making good time. I'm getting a lot of value out of the energy waves. Yeah, we are starting to see multiple of these higher level enemies at once. Getting the red E-Crusher doesn't actually matter in terms of any damage thresholds, with one exception. If you get the red E-Crusher, the energy wave actually hits those swords units twice and kills them instantly. Now for the minefield. This is the longest minefield out of the four, and the second hardest. I know I died on the previous one, but that was because I was kind of worn out. I do play this rather well, though. Bait that mine to go into the right. I don't get these containers because I do not want to get max power. Something I didn't note about max power is that when you get it, it freezes the game for like a split second, which is a minor loss. And when it comes to the E-Crusher especially, you don't need red to two-shot the generators. Red doesn't one-shot the generators, and so yellow is the best you can get. Now, I should mention something going into Crimson 3. This is the level prior, and and what I'm going to mention is that this is the level that grants you the last of the first set of collectibles. This grants you the 5th blue chip, and when it's complete, you get the barrier wing, which boosts your bulk by 1/3. This is right before Crimson 3, and Crimson 3 seriously gatekept me as a kid until I finally got it. And the reason I was able to get it was because of the barrier wing. I literally could not beat this without the barrier wing, so when I started implementing skipping the chips into my runs, I was pretty scared and I ended up practicing Crimson 3. I got it down after a while, but Crimson 3 is definitely not consistent for me. I'd say I get it about 9 times out of 10. With that said, the easy levels are over after this one. And yeah, the big thing about Turtloids is that they shoot a bunch of projectiles at once. If they hit you all at the same time, they can very much kill you. Now, Crimson 3, the third and final fight with the game's main villain. I'll give you some story information after this fight is done. This is the same machine we fought last time, except upgraded, and actually hard to beat this time. Crimson 2 didn't give me that much trouble as a kid, but Crimson 3, as I said, was a real problem. I've actually gotten Red E-Crusher on this fight before, which actually matters since it does deal more damage. But I didn't get it this time, and, well... Those sword guys hurt, by the way. If they slash you, it's gonna hurt. But it was Crimson himself that gatekept me without the barrier wing when I was a kid. But yeah, Crimson's dead, but the world still isn't saved, and we need to shut off the power source, which is the Xenos core, which is inside this conspicuous pyramid that has been on the map and in the background recently. The main thing about level 25 is that it's just one very, very long combat encounter in this room, and then one shorter combat encounter. There's 4 waves, and they're all pretty big, except for this one. Yeah, this has some of the highest enemy counts in the entire game. This wave specifically has a lot of green units and red units. Now, it's the sword guys. And now 2 Turtloids. Luckily, I can take them out separately. And now the barriers are down. Then I go here. There's 2 more waves. The first is this one, featuring red units and sword guys. That one isn't too hard if you time your energy waves properly. And then this one, this is actually kill to run. With only the E-Crusher and no barrier wing, it's hard to mount a defense against the Turtloids' barrages. Energy waves are not exactly consistent when it comes to timing them. But this level is done. Now for level 26, by far the hardest minefield, and I say this knowing that I died to mission 17. Yeah, this one is short, sweet, and absolutely brutal. After this, it's basically just an ascent and then a descent, but we're given very little cover to work with. Another thing to note is that, traditionally, after level 25, the player would now get access to the 5th and final weapon in the game, the Megatron, which is by far the best defensive weapon in the game. In terms of power, it's almost as strong as the E-Crusher. It's able to two-shot... It's the weapon I mentioned that's able to two-shot the generators when it's red. But defensively, its special attack is officially called Whirlwind, and you swing the sword around you, which actually deletes every projectile the game throws at you. It's the best defensive option in the game, and it makes the final 4 levels so much easier. Also to note for this level is that I'm about to make my second biggest mistake of the run. My biggest being dying on mission 17. There's a... I'll let you know exactly when I notice. But with that said, enjoy the footage of me crushing these enemy waves. I don't actually usually have the yellow E-Crusher for this room, so I'm able to two-shot this generator, but I'm about to realize why. I realize about right now that I forgot to pick up the generator directly north of me. And so as soon as the barriers go down, I backtrack. I'd say this cost me like 15 seconds. And also some time in the final room. Because you really, really want at least yellow on the E-Crusher for this room. Alright, at this point, we have made our way inside the pyramid. And there's only 3 levels to go. This cleanser, it actually ended a previous run of mine for a reason that I'll get into at the very end of the level. I should have gotten that collectible because it means I can't beat this. Luckily, as previously mentioned, the cleanser kills enemies, and that deactivates the barrier. I make my way up like this, cutting it pretty close. And then these B units. If you don't dodge their firing right here, you kind of just die. I went through all of this, knowing that the 2 hardest levels in the game are coming up right here. This level is 9 rooms of incredibly intense combat, and I practiced this a lot heading into this run. Because I knew that without Megatron and without Barrier Wing, it was going to be significantly harder. Room 2. Room 3. Some turtleoids that would love to just combo me to death. And B units, which would love to do the same. Luckily, I'm kind of blasting my way through this. I was incredibly nervous at this point. I'm positioned well for Room 4. Wipe out all of the red guys with 1 single energy wave. Wipe out the sword ones with 2. Room 5, more turtleoids. Focus them down. Snipe the ones on the other side here. Deal with a mine puzzle. Don't do well there, but manage to avoid all the mines. Pull hard right. Room 6. Something interesting is that I get max power for Room 7, which I don't usually have. I usually have to make do with green, which means I can't one-shot the red units. Now, I'm going to mention real quick the strategy that I used to beat Krenzen 2 and 3. They don't work against the final boss, the Xenos Core. It will teleport after every hit, meaning you can't really catch it in an energy wave, for the most part. It's by far the hardest level in the game, and the one I had the most problems with as a kid. Without Megatron and Barrier Wing, I had about a 25% win rate in practice. But I just knew that I was so far ahead of world record that I would get this no matter what. And so, the only question was, what would the final time be? And so, I proudly present the final boss, the Xenos Core. Enjoy the fight. time. When I tell you the outpouring of emotions that happened at this exact moment. It feels really, really weird for me to say that I'm the best in the world at this game. It's something that's only ever happened to me once before for 2048 Fibonacci. Both of them, games that I loved playing as a kid, came back to, and realized that I was the best in the world at it. After only a little bit of practice, I was able to get this world record. I have no intention of doing this run again. At least not for a while. It was really fun, but I'm moving on to different things. Thanks to the people who made this game. I've been having fun with it for over 10 years now. When it comes to the future of this category, although I won't be the one to do it, sub 29 is definitely possible. And perhaps sub 28. Who knows? The unedited run without commentary will be in the description, as will the previous world record. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.